Alright, after a bit of a hiatus, getting back to the antinomies of Kant, the last two antinomies, and by the way, I tried to upload this video already, but there was some technical difficulties, so this is a second take, if you will. Um, the final two of the four antinomies are on causation and contingency. So uh, the idea is that you can and cannot have an infinite causal regress or an infinitely long causal chain, and then that you can and cannot have an infinitely long contingency chain, one being being contingent on a previous being, and so on and so forth forever. Alright, so it seems to me that an infinitely long chain with respect to contingency is a special case of an infinitely long chain with respect to causation. For if my being is contingently derived from that of my parents, then my parents cause me to exist. Contingency is thus a special case of causation. So we may treat these final two antinomies together. Are infinite causal regresses impossible? I'm sorry, are they possible? Are infinite causal regresses possible? I think not. To illustrate this, consider what I like to call a flubber check. A flubber check is a check that would bounce if it weren't covered by another check. But this second check is also a rubber check, rubber, not flubber, and will bounce if not covered by a third rubber check, and so on ad infinitum. The original check shall still remain uncovered. It'll still bounce. The additional rubber checks are analogous to the causes. So the simple fact is that an infinitely long causal chain has no first link, and thus can have no subsequent links. That is, there are no links at all, but this contradicts the initial assumption that we are dealing with a chain of infinitely many links. But even if such chains were possible, they would need an extrinsic cause, a link from another chain perhaps, because the whole thing, the chain as a whole, would be uncaused if there wasn't some outside cause to cause it. So there is no way to get around an uncaused first cause. This uncaused first cause is also a non-contingent or a necessary being. Since we know that all causal regresses are finite, as we've just seen, we can reject the other horn of Kant's antinomies. About the only reason I can think of to reject the possibility of an uncaused first cause would be an allergy to what might be called brute facts. And I hate to use the term brute facts. In a sense, I don't really believe that there are brute facts, but this is what other people seem to want to call uncaused first causes, brute facts. So I'll go along with I'll bow to the peer pressure and go along with the crowd and call it, refer to uncaused first causes as brute facts. Now, God is said to exist, if at all, as a brute fact. But why suppose that there are no brute facts? On the contrary, there has to be brute facts, for we have already seen that infinite regresses are impossible, at least infinite causal regresses. So there simply has to be a first link somewhere. Perhaps this first link is not even the Christian God, or perhaps the first link is not even God at all in any sense of the term. But there simply has to be a first link. There has to be a brute fact, an uncaused first cause somewheres. It is incoherent to say that it's just turtles all the way down. Again, we see that Kant's antinomies are not all they are cracked up to be. All four of them ought to be rejected, and pure reason thus emerges unscathed. Maybe Kant's philosophy wasn't another Copernican revolution after all, at least when it comes to the four antinomies. At any rate, thanks for your time. Be sure to leave some feedback if you are so inclined. Even if you disagree, that's fine. I want dialogue with people who agree and disagree. So thank you again. Shalom out.